Guys, so today's episode, we're interviewing Matt with Brevard Outdoors. That his story hasn't always been glamorous. He's a God-fearing man, met his wife at church where he was making only a couple $100 a week. And he figured that to keep her and actually marry her, he needed to figure out how he was going to make more money. So he started doing whatever he could to bring in some money, from posting ads on Craigslist to cutting firewood in Florida. His grandmother reached out and asked him if he can build something for her neighbor, which he did. And he fell in love with hardscape and then landscaping and started his company now 12 years later, learning the importance of culture within your business, also integrating systems like EOS and also design software that has allowed him to level up immensely in his business. Stay tuned for this fire episode featuring our special guest, Matt with Brevard Outdoors.
Are you ready to grow? The Plant Movement with Willie Rodriguez of A's Ornamental Nursery in sunny South Florida is the podcast for those in the nursery business. Garden centers, landscapers, power growers, and plant enthusiasts. Willie is a passionate leader in the plant movement and has helped others grow their business into multi-million-dollar companies. This show will save you time, money, and headaches through top-notch education and by connecting you to experts in the industry. Let's grow. Here's your host, Willie Rodriguez.
What is up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Plant Movement Podcast. I'm your host, Willie Rodriguez. And as always, guys, we want to bring relevancy to our podcast. That's what we've gotten lately from a couple of people. They love how relevant it is to them. And today we are interviewing Matt from Brevard Outdoors, which is hardscape, landscape, and he's intertwined so many things. I'm excited you drove all the way down. How was the drive?
It was good. Thanks for having me, Willie. I appreciate it.
Thank you, man. It's awesome. It's awesome that what we're doing is making people drive 4 hours to sit
100%.
and talk, because it's fun, man. It's fun, it's powerful, and there's a purpose behind it, and it's awesome. Yeah. And I hope you guys enjoy this podcast. So let's go, man.
Let's do it.
So talk to me. I want to know how you got into the green industry or into hardscaping, because that story is pretty funny.
Yeah.
And where you were in life when that happened.
Yep.
I just want people to hear, you know?
Yeah. So I've always loved plants. I had like my own little nursery table in my yard when I was a kid, and my grandmother has like a green thumb, and so that's like where I picked up the love of plants.
Oh, nice. With grandma.
Yeah. I was working at my church. I was making a couple $100 a week. I met my wife. You know,
how old were you when you were making a couple $100 a week?
Probably 21, 22.
21, 22, a couple hundred.
Yeah. I was like, she's pretty and I want to marry her and I need some money to do that.
Yeah.
So
she ain't gonna want me at $200 a week.
Yeah. So I started doing whatever I could, man. I was like selling firewood in Florida, of all places. I was selling firewood. I was cutting trees. I started doing landscaping, like whatever I could do to.
You were working with people, or you were picking up odd jobs?
Just like Craigslist, just
you were posting ads on Craigslist.
Yep, whatever I could do. I was cutting people's trees for free to get wood to sell the firewood in Florida. Like the worst business strategy ever.
Okay, but you learned something.
I learned, yeah. Yes. The tree guy was like, hey, why don't you charge people so that you don't cut my legs out from under me? Anyways, long story short, so
well, you didn't know. You were uneducated about that at that point.
Mm-hmm. I just had my Jeep Wrangler, and I'd throw a 32-foot ladder on top of it.
On top of the Wrangler?
Yes, and just rock it.
That's awesome.
But yeah, so I just started doing different odds and ends, and I was coaching football, working at the church, 5 or 6 classes in college.
You're a busy guy.
Super busy. This lady that was a friend of my grandmother's was like, hey, can you put in a paver patio for me? And I had done one in my little nursery area at my parents'. So I had like tables and water, and I built my own patio. Okay. So I was like, sure. So I would do it like after football, like 1 hour a night. Miserable, like no tools, like.
You didn't make $1 off of that.
No, I stayed busy. Yeah. But I loved it. Yeah. And I was like, this is cool. I used a skill saw with a tile blade to cut the pavers. Like, oh, Lord. I just had no clue
you had no clue
what I was doing.
But whatever, you were doing it.
So I just kept picking up more jobs, and, things at the church. I really loved working there, but it just didn't look like something full-time was going to be on the horizon. And so I took a leap of faith October 2013. And went full-time, and then my wife stopped working probably like a year later after we had our first kid. No, 2 years later, I'm sorry. There's been some hairy times and some trying times, and we were just talking. I kind of was riding 2 horses with one butt. I was like, maybe something will open up at the church, and I'll, I hadn't fully committed to the business. I don't think God was honoring that because I was just kind of didn't know what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And so I kind of took it serious, and I had a lot of different people that have poured in my life and some mentors, a good friend, George, that poured into me. And I finally decided to take the business serious. And obviously now we're, 10, 12 years down the road, and we've accomplished some things, probably not as much as, I've wanted to, but it's been an exciting journey. And looking back, it's always different looking back. When you're in the moment, you don't always see it. But yeah, looking back, it was a weird path to get to where we are now.
It's a skill to be able to see where you're at.
Yeah.
And look at it from up above and make the plays. So I feel like people in general, they're quick to point fingers, and at anything they can be like, oh, look, this guy's not doing this right, or look, he's not doing this right. But then to be able to do it on your own and critique yourself, of what you're doing.
We're the next level.
That's the next level that comes in, and that's what makes, people powerful. They can see where they're doing things incorrectly, and then they instantly change. It's not, I'm going to do it tomorrow, next week. When you're going to start the diet? Oh, I'm a January 1st, and it's April. It's like, no, we're going to start the diet right now. I'm not going to eat that anymore. Yep. Or I'm going to start doing this in my business right now. Yep. Or I'm going to call this guy back right now. Yep. The guy I owe money to. You know what? I owe him 20 grand. It's been a year. Why did I even let myself do this? Boom. I'm going to call him right now. I'm going to make it right. I only have $500 a month I'm going to give him, but I'm going to offer him that. And I know he's going to take it. I'm going to clear my name. Yep. Whatever it is, we can't be quick to point. Yep. We have our own things and our own things inside that we got to figure out and take. So you were talking about your path and how you got to where you were. So now it's been 12 years. How many people are working with you?
About 15 right now.
15 guys. Yeah. Okay, and then you divide them into how many crews?
We've got 3 full-time in-house crews, 2 full-time project managers, and then a lot of subs depending on what it is. Workflow is looking like.
And then all your crews do the same thing, or you have different crews set up for different things?
So we've got hardscaping guys, we've got plant guys, we've got carpentry guys, and just as the business has grown, it's been about elevating each one of those crews, making each one of those crews better, so that the level of work and the level of craftsmanship we can put out in each one of those types of work is better. Mm-hmm. And that's just the field. That's not even talking about the back end, the office, the team, the leadership team. And culture's been a huge thing that has really been, even just within the last few months, has been majorly shifting. So
what do you mean about culture? Talk to me about that.
So as you grow a business, you have things that you feel, values that are instilled with you, that you feel like this is kind of how I want my business to look like. Mm-hmm. And I think sometimes I've sacrificed in the past culture, not values, but what I want my business to look like. And I've hired people based on their skill and let culture be a secondary thing. Okay. And I've learned it kills your business, because the culture is the most important thing to be able to forward the vision that you've been given. Even within the last few months, I was talking to my guy on the way down here, my sales guy, we were hanging up. He was driving. He works part-time as a firefighter. He was driving to work, and as we were hanging up, I was like, love you, brother. Yeah. Be safe today. And just to have a team where you can communicate to each other like that, I would have never done that, even 6 months ago. Yeah. And it's not that I've ever had bad people or, and sometimes I'm the problem. It's just having people that align with your core values and who you are as a person, at least in your leadership team, is monumental, because that's when you start taking a company and you take it from good to great. Yeah. And you start being able to do things you never thought you could do on your own.
Yeah, I believe that. The environment has to be there.
It's huge.
To scale and to just create an environment that people want to be around. Right. They want to hang out there. They want to put in the love into their craftsmanship. Correct. To have somebody on board, you can say, I love you. I tell everybody here, I love you. I tell everyone, hey, love you guys. I even say it on IG. I love it. And it's just something that just comes out. That right there is special. And the fact that you've been able to create that within your business just makes it a better place for everyone. Yep. An environment where if they got to bring, the office needs to bring a kid one day, it's okay, let's have fun. Hey, I got to go to the doctor today, I can't go. go do what you got to do. It's okay, because people at the end of the day, let's say employees, that they feel like that, they'll come back and they'll put the 110% in to make up for whatever it was, and that's hard to achieve. So the fact that that's been achieved already, then everything else is just gonna happen. It'll whatever God has in store will happen. Which is great.
I feel like for landscapers, hardscapers, business owners, there's the working in the business, and then there's the working on the business. And you can work in the business for a long time, but it takes the right culture and the right team to start working on the business and take it to those next levels and to start accomplishing some of those visions that you have.
100%. You said it very well. Very well. I align 100% with what you're saying. And that's great. That's great that you guys have been able to do that. So talk to me about all the different things that you guys offer, because there's hardscape is just random, it can anything outside, and then landscaping is plants, but it also intertwines with other things, irrigation, lighting, whatever.
Correct.
Talk to me about everything that Brevard offers.
Brevard Outdoor Services is that. We do everything outside the walls of your home. We always tell, our clients, we're your one-stop shop from the walls out. Start to finish, we'll do remodels, we'll do new construction. We work for builders, we work for homeowners directly. We've been able to build some really good relationships with different builders, different contractors, and we do a lot of direct client, residential. We do commercial work too. I mean, we put in like a putting green and 4 big pergolas at an assisted living facility, and it's a friend of mine that's a landscaper, and he just subbed me to come in on the job, and a lot of people talk about competition and stuff. I don't know. It's an illusion. We're in the same market. We do a lot of the same thing, and we just use each other back and forth all the time. And we talked about growing those teams and that craftsmanship. We've got subs, we've got in-house guys, but my favorite is just designing from the beginning. And designs have taken off like crazy for us the last probably year and a half. 2 years ago, I wasn't even designing.
No,
it was
you were just showing up and
it was on the list of someday when I get all my crap together, I'll start designing.
Okay.
And kind of we were just talking about, that attitude of no, I'm just going to do it now. So I downloaded the software and I started learning it, and now it's my favorite thing to do. And even though it's my favorite thing, I've already started delegating it because I've noticed how much of my time gets sucked into it. So I've already hired a guy. He's already part-time, cranking it out.
Trust me, I know how that could be. You want to nitpick everything, and you'll spend 5 hours designing, and you only did one island.
Yep, exactly. We probably, no joke, have 100 designs under our belt at this point, which, there's guys that have thousands of designs. But a year ago, I probably had 5. I was begging.
And you were
people.
doing it on what? On a pen and paper?
No, I was just telling people, hey, this is what you're going to get. So I'd give them this huge proposal that's 6 figures, and this is what we're going to do, but I couldn't show them.
Yeah.
And just that change that we've been able to do over the last year, we were talking about a little bit on the phone, it's for us and for my clients, I'm trying to sell the vision. And it's not even selling the vision. I'm trying to align with what they want, and they can see it. And some people can verbalize and some people can't verbalize. I think one of my better skills is being able to read a client, kind of feel the vibe and what they want for their space. And then being able to illustrate that for them and them see it up front is huge. And I love it. It's one of my favorite things. I really enjoy doing it. But just taking a space and being able to create the entire thing outside the walls of people's homes is amazing.
That's a lot of work that goes into it. Would you go back to doing it how you were doing it before? Now that you've implemented, not doing designs anymore.
Never.
You feel like the closure rate is better now that you're presenting something in 3D format that they can look at and be wow, this is
comparable.
Not comparable. You heard that, guys. If you're on the line and you're deciding, should I jump and get the program? Should I not? Maybe you guys should think about doing it, because as you see, it makes sense. People want to see something finished. It's hey, this is what I want. Here's $150,000. Is it gonna come out how I want?
They can't even see it. They can't even see it. I was running into that in so many projects, and I mean, I'd have 3-4 page proposals that are very detailed,
and written out,
written out exactly what you're getting, and there would still be hiccups. And so it was all about I want our client to just such a smooth process. We talk about like mint on the pillow.
You're thinking about your customer.
Yeah, it's all about the customer. I love the design. Like, it's become something that I love, but the reason that we started doing it was to serve the client. But we talk about that kind of like mint on the pillow. Like, you go to a nice hotel, you know, you show up and
towels
the towels
folded into a duck.
There's a mint on the pillow. Like, that's the way we want our service for our clients to be. So the more that like you can provide as an outdoor contractor for your clients, the better. So
yeah, and just the time that it takes away from you having to go back, mess ups that could cost 10 grand.
Yep.
Yeah, you know, because one sentence wasn't put into that.
It helps you just as much as it helps the client.
100%. And now you're doing the small things, which take care of the small things that we talk about a bunch that don't, you know, that you can't let go unseen. You have to, you know, dot the T, cross the T's and dot the I's, and that helps you out at the same time. Now there's a vision that everyone's on the same page.
Correct.
Everyone's happy. The wife's happy. The husband's happy. The company's happy. The owner's happy. Whoever it is, and you're able to execute. For me, it's just wild, like what you guys have to go through when it comes to pricing out something like that. You gotta. From the last screw to the last, it gets, you know, the last glue gun, the last everything.
It gets complicated, especially because we offer everything from the walls out. Like, we have to be experts at everything that we're doing and touching. But I think that's what sets us apart too. Yeah.
And if you're subbing, who's going to sub? Who can make it? How much is it? You know, everything. Who you're going to choose? Like, there's so many things that go into it.
So many variables.
That helps out.
So that process that we're talking about, Hormozy, is it Lee Hormozy that's on? Anyways,
I don't know.
He talks about mastering the middle.
Okay.
So like the beginning, you know, you're closing the sale and like there's all the hype and you're excited. The customer's excited. You're excited. That's great. And then the end, you're trying to finish strong. You're trying to get the final check. You're trying to, you know, and whatever you're doing, he's not even in the construction world, but the middle, mastering the middle, like that's what we're trying to do as business owners. Is the front has a lot of hype, the end has a lot of hype, but if we can master that process in the middle, like that's what takes a client experience to the next level. And like you were just talking about, like scheduling subs, and like I have to not come in the shop in the mornings because like I've handed off responsibilities and we use EOS. If you've got more than 10 employees, you guys should look into it. It's entrepreneurial operating system. It's just a way to run your business.
Okay.
You know, and like you said, like I used to do everything. I made every decision. Everything ran through Matt. I was like the cog in the wheel. I was the gate that everything had to pass through, and it created a ton of issues. And so even though I've handed stuff off, now I find myself like, what guy are you putting on that truck? Did you make sure that you strapped that down in the trailer? And
because you want to make sure everything's going right.
And you care, but I find myself doing that, and then I'm like crushing the butterfly. Like when a butterfly is coming out of its cocoon, you just got to let it do its thing. If you try to pull the thing apart and help it, you're going to crush it.
You have to let your guys make some mistakes, so then you can point at them and tell them, hey, listen.
Right. And my guys are experts. They're better than me. So I got to get out of their way.
They're going to make sure, you know, that they don't get that phone call from you. And even like things we talk about, like I always talk about, guys, you have to perfect your business. You have to be on top of everything. You know, go do a walkthrough with your client when it's done. If the mulch isn't perfect, scoot it over, you know, before you take a picture. All these different things I talk about, that can make or break. Think about this. You're doing all this work, but you do step 8 instead of step 5, and now you got to go back and it cost you 10 grand on that $150,000 job. You know, and forget about the money that it cost you. Look at what it did to the customer. So now you have a customer that the deadline is not set. They're hyped. They want to plan a party. Now the party gets postponed and all this stuff just because you guys didn't do it properly. That puts a negative image on the company. So now everyone that they talk about, you guys too, is no, they did a great job, but they messed this up and then we couldn't do the party, and it's negative, and it's like, oh, and that would have never happened if the due diligence was done and the steps were taken to do it right.
So it's funny you mentioned that, because we literally had that exact thing happen this week. Literally this week. So some component of an electric pellet smoker didn't ship with the smoker, and our guys didn't catch it. Everything was like still zip tied, and they had this big party this weekend, and they're the coolest clients. They're super sweet. It was my first really big design.
So was something that got shipped that you guys didn't open it when it arrived?
No, they did. They put it together, but there was a missing component under the zip tied grill grates. Just like
but that was not you guys' fault.
Not our fault, but still, we didn't catch it. Our process
didn't
catch it. And so we're talking about like mastering the middle, and Like, those are the type of things that, like, we didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah.
But it's still that client experience that you like. I want my team to care so much about the client and their experience and what they think and how they feel, that our process is just and like you said, we do 10 different things. So I've got to have a process for our kitchens. I got to have a process for landscaping. And that's what we're talking about building. Anybody can sell anything. Mm-hmm. Anybody can sell anything. Some people are really good at it. But caring about that end product and caring about how the customer felt along the way, like, that is the difference maker. And that's like the culture we were just talking about in our business.
Off air, I told you that to stand out, you have to do something a little different.
Yep.
And that to me sounds like a little different.
Yeah.
If you guys are enjoying the content that we're putting out here on the Plant Movement Podcast, make sure to subscribe and follow, giving us a 5-star review. It really goes a long way. Also, share it with someone that can benefit from this content. As always, we want to continue connecting you with people in the green industry. And make sure you get in touch if you want to jump on the podcast. Let's go. That to me sounds like a little different, because now you're getting attached with the customer on an emotional level.
Yep.
Where you're taking the time to ask the questions on them, really to understand what they want, and then making that happen for them in a different way. It's how it's supposed to be. Businesses should listen to what their customers need and then take care of it and make that happen for them.
Right.
And that's something that you guys have achieved, because I know a lot of people that do hardscape stuff, or not even hardscape, just contractor things. And it is a disaster. It's like, man, why did I give this guy a 20% deposit?
Yep, they're just waiting for the signature on the proposal and the first check, and then after that, it's
like you said, they're great salesmen. They're great at closing a deal. They're great at getting a deposit. They paint a beautiful picture. Yep. But what's behind the picture, or the process of actually doing the picture, is not going to happen that way. Yep. And that's what kills it for the customer. Yep. So the fact that you guys are able to do that, even though that's a little hiccup, I don't think that's extreme.
Oh, yeah. But I mean,
that's just so you guys see how Matt is.
Yeah, those are the type of things that keep me awake at night.
Yes, that.
Yeah.
You guys got through it. So finish. How did you guys get through it? You guys ordered another one?
Oh yeah. Everything's worked out, and I mean, I bought them like the pellets that I use, and like the whole.
So you went above and beyond.
Oh yeah. It's just, those are the type of things that I care about.
Yeah.
And I think that's what sets us apart from other people, because we're not just there to close the deal. We're not about revenue. We're not about all those things. Those things are secondary. They come by doing the right things.
100%.
Which is one of our core values, is do the next right thing.
Do the next right thing. No, and you're a man, you're a God-fearing man too. So most people that walk like that want to do things right and look out for people, because you're not looking out for yourself. Yeah. You're looking out for your customer. You're looking out for them. You're looking out for your team, your family, and you're the last guy on the list.
100%. Yeah, that's 100% right. I mean, that's, at the end of the day, it's all about the team. It's about the client experience, and the team's experience working for our company.
100%. Talk to me how you got into landscaping.
So landscaping was my first love. Okay. Hardscaping was like, how do I make some money?
Okay.
Because in Florida, everybody's got a truck and a ladder or a hedge trimmer.
Yeah.
So I got into hardscaping because I was trying to separate myself from the competition. 12 years ago, in my county, there were probably 50 guys that knew how to do pavers. Now there's probably 450. So we've always just tried to grow and separate ourselves from what our competition is doing and what the client can do for themselves, which is why I like the outdoor space. But yeah, I got into hardscaping because I loved landscaping, but I couldn't figure out how to make money doing it. Now we're doing the opposite. I was just telling Austin, sales guy I was talking about, I think our landscaping probably tripled or quadrupled last year, just the soft scaping side. Because I was like, don't worry about plants. Mrs. Jones can go to Home Depot and buy a plant for herself and stick it in the ground. And then I learned, no, I have to find the right Mrs. Jones that wants us to put 100 of them in and put a design together with it. So we were super hardscape focused, even just a few years ago. Just being able to provide everything for our clients has given us the jobs, the opportunities, and the clients that I always dreamed about having. And it's just following that vision and that plan that you're given. You know what I mean?
Well, you've manifested that.
Yeah.
You know, that's what you've dreamt about, that's what you've pushed for, and that's what you're achieving. Yeah. That's what happens when you manifest those type of things.
Yeah. Plants was my first love. Yeah, I had a little like nursery table, and my grandmother would give me, you know, cuttings off of her plants. I mean, from when I was little, like 10 or 11, it was probably like maybe even 9 or 10. Yeah. And, you know, I'd like dip them in root tone. And I had all of these plants. Then I just got into the hardscaping because I was like, oh, yeah, people can't. Yeah, Mrs. Jones can't lay a paver patio for herself. And then now it's come full circle. And now I'm incorporating the plants back in. And it's so cool. It's so cool. It's like I get to design and provide for people every day what I'm personally passionate about.
Yeah, well, you're an artist. Yeah. And that comes out and it shows in your work. Guys, go and click on the link on the bio down below, and you're gonna see his Instagram page. You could just see some of the work they do. I was telling him, like, dude, everything is cut perfect, everything is symmetrical. The pavers go, if there's a design within the pavers, which that's hard to achieve.
Oh yeah.
That's a puzzle in itself. Yeah. Having to cut everything and then put it in and make the star or whatever
the turf
they want.
Strips and the diamonds of concrete and travertine and all that. It's a lot of work, and there's a lot of planning that has to go into
a lot of planning, and it's a craft at the end of the day to make it all tight and make it all pretty. Like, I'll see some installs that I see that people are doing turf, and the turf is bubbly at the end.
Yep.
You know, it's not seamless. It doesn't look right. The pavers look off. Yep. You know, the border that was done to edge the island to the grass is just off, and it's like I can clearly see it when I look at the picture. But why didn't they fix that? Correct. You know, before, you know, and then like with everything I looked at on your page, is just like everything is great and the attention to details there. And that's how you've been able to scale and get into these larger installs, you know, where you're getting 150 grand from a client to, you know, renovate and do everything and make it pop. You know, that's tough. You know, it's crazy. You got to have confidence of a bull.
Oh yeah.
You know,
to do that. Yeah, you got to go after it. So the details you were talking about, details matter, is another one of our core values. Dude, I didn't even have core values like 8 months ago. Like, I just started that with the EOS process. But it's so important. So like your core values, they're a reflection of like who you are as a person.
Yes.
And then it's not just having them yourself. So that's where I was getting frustrated. I had core values, and I had a couple of people on my team with core values, but my whole team didn't have my core values. So I hired these guys that on paper, you know, matched, but they didn't align with here.
Yeah.
And so then you're constantly frustrated, even if they're good at what they do, because they're not trying to get the same end product as you. So you're talking about like turf, like Ripley turf. Ripley turf is like one of my biggest pet peeves. And I'm just going to say it. We've made some Ripley turf in our past.
I feel like everyone has.
I'm the least perfect business owner in the entire world. But the guys yesterday were doing a turf job, and they hadn't sanded it or pinned it yet. And I could see all these ripples, but they were posting it kind of towards the end of the day. So I like had this urge to like go in the job site group and be like, hey, you know, where are you at in the process? And I was like, stop. Like
don't
your
do
team do
it. Let them figure
so
it out.
I just like said a little whisper to one of the guys, and immediately one of the project managers like, hey, where are you at in the project? Are you guys finished? Are you coming back tomorrow?
You still got your answer.
Yeah, I still got my answer. So I'm learning to like not meddle in everything.
Yeah.
And if I can stop meddling in everything, I can get my proposals out on time, and I can go and, you know, make that next relationship and really focus on like my God-given talents and abilities, and like let my team do their thing.
Yeah, your purpose and more of building and scaling. What's next for Brevard? What's the next thing you guys are gonna touch on or do, or something new, exciting that's going on, something you're implementing? I know the EOS is exciting.
Yeah, that's been huge. There's a few things in the works. We've really been like cleaning up our vision and making, you know, because I've got 1,000 ideas. We're very similar.
We all have 1,000 ideas.
Like I vomit ideas.
I haven't heard that one.
I have probably like 6,000 to 7,000 notes in my phone.
For real?
For real.
Me too.
Just like
not that many though, but yeah.
And I try to categorize them and try to like, but I can't even. Like I can't even begin to sort them. So there's a lot of different things that we're working on, and just trying to expand the type of work that we can do. But really right now we're team building. Like I finally feel like within the last 2 to 3 months, we've like put the right people in the right seats on the bus.
Okay.
And like now it's me taking everything that's in my head, putting it into a process with the team. So it's not just my process. Because I've got we talk about it all the time. I've got 30, 40 documents. We've got a 20-page standard operating procedure. But if it's not a process that we're all bought into and we built together, it's just documents in a Google Drive. So right now we're in that team building phase. And that's kind of my hyper focus right now, is that 1 to 2, maybe 1 to 3 year period of just continuing to build and uplift the team. Because I was talking with my office manager the other day and was getting a little choked up. I want my team to accomplish their life goals. And I think
That's
a lot
powerful.
of business owners, they seek their own accomplishment and they seek what they want. And that's great. That's the whole point of being in business, is to provide for your family. But so much bigger, I want my team to be able to accomplish their goals, and I want Brevard Outdoor to be a part of that. I want it to be the driver for them.
What are some of the things you're doing?
Personally, or just with the team?
No, with the team, to guide them and get them there, because I want people to hear this.
Yeah,
from someone else other than me.
Putting them in a position where they know their job, you've given them all the tools to succeed, and then you don't get in their way. And then as they own their craft, you've got pillars in your business, different areas that do different things. You can elevate them to become successful, and then you reward them based off the success. And so, yeah, that's the big thing for me, is it's not about what the business does. It's what the business can do for the team. And I think there's a point where it eventually trickles, all the way down to every person that touches the business, whether they're a guy that's 6 weeks in and he's just on a shovel because he just came in and just joined our company. I've got a guy that's been with me 9 years. I think eventually it'll trickle down where everyone has that same feeling. But right now I'm just focusing on that for my core leadership team and just trying to put things into place to kind of serve them and, serve some of their desires and hopes and dreams outside of work. Because unfortunately we got to be at work more than we're at home. Yeah. So I want work to be an environment that they feel blessed and feel like they're being taken care of.
And I feel like that too. It's more of a peaceful process throughout the day and everything. And you're a father, you're a husband, you have 3 children. So it's juggling all of that, juggling whatever you do as hobbies and things like that as well. It can get chaotic.
What are hobbies?
Hobbies? I'm sure you got at least one of them.
I'm just kidding. I go hunting. That's my little release.
That's your release.
I get up there 2 or 3 times a year and sit in a tree stand, and
I can't do that.
It's just so quiet.
I know, but I can't do that.
Quiet and
my buddies go hunting. Man, I was in this tree for 2 days. I'm like, dude. it sounds cool, but me, I don't know, man.
It's not for everybody.
It's not for everybody.
That's where my mind resets. Yeah. Kind of like when people put their phones away for a day and they don't touch it. That's my mind reset, and where I working out. Yeah.
You're working out.
I need to start doing that.
No, working out.
Yeah. I got the diet fixed. That was step 1. Now I need to actually start working out so I don't pass out walking up a flight of stairs.
No, you'll be good.
But no, that's my little peaceful, and I feel like that's where God speaks to me. Dude, the volume of ideas and notes and vision that you get from being out and being in nature, and dude, it's
just being anywhere. For everyone, I think it might be a little different. Yep. And I don't know if everyone has visions like that, but I do know that the visions that we get are for a reason. Yep. And it's how do you know if it's meant to be? Yep. It's meant to be when things start happening. Yep. You take the initial step of just talking about it, and now you get great feedback that is positive, and it gave you even more ideas, inspired you even more on that one idea. So it's wait. All right, so did that door just open? Yep. All right, let's go through that door a little bit more. Let's keep walking. Yep. So yeah, you're going to have to work out so you can get through those doors, and not those flights of stairs.
Yeah, I'm a little out of shape.
Yeah, but even those ideas that you want to do, whether they're intertwined with your business or not, you have to continue growing this to get to the point where now you have time to execute the next thing that you want to do, because you don't have to be stuck being the owner of Brevard that's stuck there every day. You guys might be wanting to jump into something, and I talk about this a bunch, but I'll elaborate a little deeper. It's very tough, and it's if you have these ideas that are right there on the back burner all day long, and you're thinking about it, there's a reason why you're thinking about it, and then you just got to create and it's not even you really doing it. It's
correct.
You know, it's like
it's a whole new level when your team does it for you.
It's a whole new level.
It's a whole new level.
It's a whole new level. You get away from that, let them shine, let them do their thing, and now you're off to the next endeavor. You know, because you feel that the next endeavor is going to be impactful.
Yeah, and like you talked about, like God puts us in that position to lead, and like that's a responsibility, and like that's something that I try to always like keep at the forefront of my mind, is like the families that are touched
100%.
by the business every single day.
100%. Every time I go by, I'll go buy food, and I could spend $400 in 2 minutes, and it's like, dude, this is crazy. I know. You know, and I think of so many things, and I'm always thinking about my guys. Yeah. You know, I help my guys out in any way I can. I think sometimes I'm like not a pushover, but I have a couple of them that call me their godfather.
Yep.
And it's just, you know, it's like, man, if I can help somebody out and the opportunity comes and I don't, what kind of human am I? Yeah. You know, when I have a roof over my head, I have food on my plate. It's so much more. You know, it's so much more than yourself. Yep. You know, it's what you're gonna do on earth and how you're gonna impact everyone around you on a daily basis. Yep. You're gonna show up with a smile. You're gonna show up upset. You know, I have customers that they're just angry, upset people. Yep. With me, they're great, but I know how they are. You know, and they scream and they're just negative. Yep. You know, in the group and they're like, man, I don't know why I can't get this guy. And I'm like, dude, listen, man, you scream at your employees all day. Who wants to work with you, man? You know, come in positive, come in with a light, dude. You know, come in different, you know, go check yourself out. Go. I'm not saying to go talk to a counselor, but like, just like try to evaluate yourself. And it goes back to what we're talking about, pointing fingers. You know, look at yourself. You know, it's hard to do. It's one of the hardest things to do is face the truth on where you're at. And because what you got to do to get there is so hard. Correct. And it's so much easier to just stay where you're at, but you're never going to reap the benefits.
And that's why you've got to have people outside of your life looking into your life 100%. And speaking into you, because you can't see what you can't see. And sometimes that mirror is super foggy and super dirty.
Which could be friends, which could be a group that you have at church. You know, so many different people. And you're even involved in another group. What's the group that you're involved in?
So there's a couple. So I'm in a mastermind group, Masterminds Behind Luxury Living. That's the name of it.
Masterminds Behind Luxury Living. Yeah. We got to look them up because I don't know who they are.
There's about 100 dudes from all around the country that all do outdoor living. Okay. Super good guys. I was like the only Florida boy for a while, and then my boy Kevin from St. Cloud jumped in. And then
you told me
Johnny's in there. Love that guy.
And I think he teamed up with Alexander.
Yeah. He's a good dude. I haven't met Alex yet, but
I haven't met either of them.
Yeah, Johnny's a good dude.
Yeah,
but
they're good people. I know
his brother's funny too.
We've done some work with him.
But yeah, he's a good dude. But so it's just a group all over the country that does the same thing. Facebook group, and we just like encourage each other, and you see what other guys are doing, and it kind of amps you up. I'm in a group called C12, so it's like local to my county, but it's like Christian business owners and. Okay. Like I said, my buddy Jason's in it. He's a landscaper, so like I'm technically could be his competition, and he invited me into the group and was like, I want you to sit around these guys and get encouragement. And dude, that has been phenomenal. You're stuck in a room all day. Lawyers, doctors, business owners, restaurant owners, you know, all different ways of looking, you know, at life.
And all in the
business.
community.
All in the same community.
That's powerful.
and people that So other business owners that align with your personal core values, that want their business to impact people bigger than just revenue. Yeah. So that's cool. EOS has been super helpful. That's just a way to run your business. I've had different coaches over the years. Sometimes you got to pay people to tell you what you can't see. I've had friends, mentors that have poured into me. So yeah, God puts the right person at the right time every time in my life to go to that next level and that next step. It is 100% not me. I am too dumb to figure that out on my own. And the timing is always perfect. Yeah. Looking back, you wished it was sooner or whatever, but it's always when he's got you ready. It's perfect. So
100%. You said it right on the nose. And the fact, like, even jumping into a group or anything like that is the same thing. Yeah. And the fact that you guys can be in a group, be in competition, you know, that there's a lot of stigma behind that. Yep. You know, even like doing this podcast, there's a lot of stigma behind it. And I got a few phone calls. But you know what? I'm like, guys, come on, man, grow up. Yeah. You know, the old school mentality, it's not going to work. Yep. You know, what's going to work is us coming together and you know, sharing our knowledge or talking about it, you know, not sharing everything, because there's always some things you want to keep hush hush.
Sure.
But, you know, at least giving back to the community or being involved in something. Yeah. And that's crazy, man. Like, I would think that C12 group is, dude, that's got to be gangster.
It's huge, dude.
Because
it's huge. It's like my favorite time of the month.
Yeah, but think about that. Like, all the business professionals that are in your backyard, they're all hanging out at this one place. Like, how can you not make connections and network there?
It's
like,
excellent. It's excellent. Besides what
powerful.
It does for you mentally.
Yeah, besides.
It's great for your business.
It's great for your business
but
too.
Even if there was zero benefit from that, it's
still powerful.
It's just like mind and life changing.
It's powerful. I don't know if they have any here in Miami, Eddie.
They do.
They do?
I'm gonna get you hooked up.
Get me hooked up, please.
It's so good.
Get me hooked up. Like, those are things I haven't looked into, but yeah.
It's so good. I'll get you hooked up.
That's good. Hey, Matt, it's been great, man. The fact that you drove down, like I said in the beginning,
love it.
It's just wild, and I appreciate it. Matt's actually going to not go home empty-handed. He's going to take some product back to make a customer happy.
Oh, yeah.
And that's exciting, so we're going to go check that out now so you can see everything. And I'm going to show him around. But we're going to have some fun.
Love you, brother.
I love you, man. God bless you. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you wanted to reach out to Matt, we're going to put all his stuff down at the bottom, so you guys can reach out. I'm sure if you have any questions for him, I'm sure he would love and he would be inspired to answer them for you.
And as promised,
what?
I'm gonna show my face on my IG a little more.
Ooh. That's a big one.
I'm gonna try.
That's a big one. You don't have to show your face, but yeah.
Just tiny bit. Just tiny bit.
Just a tiny bit. It's okay. People just want to know who you are.
Yeah.
You know, you put a picture, you look like a sharp, honest dude, and that right there is worth $1 million. Yeah. For real. Yeah. Guys, God bless you. I hope you guys took something powerful and positive from today's episode. Stay tuned as always as we keep bringing you the fire. All right?
Thanks, guys.
Take it easy, guys. God bless. Bye.
Thank you for listening to this edition of The Plant Movement. Willie and Eddie invite you to connect with them on Instagram at both The Plant Movement Podcast and A's Ornamental Nursery. Those links are in the show description. Please leave us a well-worded 5-star review on Apple Podcasts to help others find the show. And remember to tap the follow button so that you'll be notified when the next edition of The Plant Movement is available.